Road trips are supposed to be about freedom. Windows down, music up, open highway stretching out in front of you like the whole world is yours. But sometimes, the road takes you somewhere you never planned to go. Sometimes, the detour isn't on any map. And sometimes, the person driving next to you isn't who you thought they were. Tonight, I have 3 stories for you. 3 real accounts from people who got into a car, hit the highway, and came back, changed. If they came back at all, turn off the lights. Make sure your doors are locked. And whatever you do, don't pull over for strangers. This story comes from a guy named Marcus. He was 24 at the time, living in upstate New York, and he'd just gotten out of a pretty bad breakup. His solution, the way a lot of young guys deal with pain, was to just drive. No destination. No plan. Just get in the car and go. It was a Friday night in late October. He told me that part matters. Late October, when the air smells like dead leaves and something else you can't quite name. Marcus got on Route 9 heading north. If you've never driven Route 9 in New York at night, let me paint you a picture. It's 2 lanes. Thick tree lines on both sides. Old farmhouses set way back from the road, their windows dark. The kind of road where your headlights feel like the only light left in the world. He'd been driving for maybe an hour and a half. No radio, he said he liked the silence. Just the hum of the engine and the sound of the tires on the asphalt. Then, around mile marker 47, he saw someone on the side of the road. A woman. Standing completely still. Facing away from him. Now, Marcus said his first instinct was to keep going. He wasn't the type to pick up hitchhikers. Nobody should be. But something about the way she was standing made him slow down. She wasn't holding her thumb out. She wasn't waving. She was just standing there. In the middle of nowhere. At 11:30 at night. He pulled over about 30 feet past her and looked in his rearview mirror. She hadn't moved. He rolled down his window and called out, "Hey, are you okay?" Silence. Then, slowly she turned around. She was young. Maybe his age. Dark hair, pale face. She was wearing a thin white dress, which made absolutely no sense for an October night in New York. No jacket. No bag. Nothing. She walked toward his car and Marcus said the first thing he felt was wrong. Not fear exactly. Like the air pressure around him had shifted. She got to his passenger window and leaned down. "Can you take me to Millfield?" Her voice was flat. Not distressed at all. Not like someone who'd been stranded on a dark road. More like someone asking a casual question. Marcus hesitated. But it was cold. She had no jacket. He told himself he was being paranoid. "Sure," he said. "Get in." She opened the door and sat down. And the first thing Marcus noticed, the very first thing, was that she brought no cold air in with her. You know how it is when someone gets in a car from outside on a cold night. There's always that rush of cold that comes in with them. Their skin is chilly. Their breath miss. She had none of that. She sat perfectly still, hands folded in her lap, staring straight ahead. Marcus pulled back onto the road. "So, Millfield. That's about 20 minutes north," he said, trying to make conversation. She didn't respond. "You live up there?" "I used to," she said. Marcus told me that answer sat in the car like a stone. "I used to." He tried again. "Were you waiting long back there?" "It's pretty cold to be out without a coat." She turned her head slowly and looked at him. Her eyes, he said, were the palest gray he'd ever seen. Not blue-gray. Not silver. Just empty gray. "I don't feel it anymore," she said. Marcus laughed nervously. "That's kind of a weird thing to say." She just turned back toward the windshield. They drove in silence for a few minutes. Marcus was gripping the steering wheel tighter than he needed to. He kept glancing at her in his peripheral vision. She wasn't moving. Not fidgeting. Not looking out the window. Not checking a phone. Just sitting there like a mannequin someone had placed in the passenger seat. Then she spoke again, without being asked. "There was an accident on this road," she said. "Oh yeah," Marcus said. "When?" "A long time ago," she said. "A girl went through the windshield. Right around here." Marcus felt his stomach drop. He looked at the road ahead of him. Nothing but darkness and tree line. "That's That's awful, he managed. She was coming home from a party, the woman continued, still in that flat, reciting voice. She wasn't wearing her seatbelt. The car hit a deer. She flew through the glass and landed in the ditch. Did she survive? Marcus asked, not sure he wanted the answer. The woman turned her head and looked at him again. What do you think? Marcus said his hands were shaking by that point. He wanted to pull over and tell her to get out. But they were in the middle of nowhere and some irrational part of him was afraid, deeply, physically afraid, of what would happen if he stopped the car. He kept driving. About 5 minutes later, they reached the edge of Millfield. A small town. Quiet. Where do you want me to drop you? Marcus asked. The cemetery, she said. On Birch Street. Marcus almost said no. The word was right there in his mouth. But instead he drove to Birch Street. There was a small cemetery there, surrounded by an iron fence, old headstones jutting up from the ground. He stopped the car. This is it, he said. He turned to look at her. The passenger's seat was empty. The door had never opened. He hadn't heard a sound. She was simply gone. Marcus sat there for a full minute, not breathing. Then, shaking, he got out of the car and looked around. The cemetery was silent. The street was empty. He almost got back in the car right then. But something made him walk to the iron fence and look at the headstones nearest to the gate. In the pale moonlight he found it. A small gray headstone. Her name, he said, was Emily Voss. Died October 19, 1987. 19 years old. And at the bottom of the stone, the carved epitaph read, "Gone too soon from Route 9. Marcus got back in his car. He drove straight home without stopping. He never took Route 9 again. And he never drove at night without checking his passenger seat before he pulled away. The second story is from a woman named Kara. She was 29, a graphic designer, and she was driving from Chicago to Nashville to visit her sister. 13-hour drive. She'd done it before. She left at 6 in the morning, planning to get there by evening. But she hit bad construction outside Indianapolis, then worse traffic, and by the time she was deep into rural Tennessee, it was past midnight. She was exhausted. Her GPS, she said this is important, her GPS had been acting up for the last 2 hours. Rerouting her. Losing signal. Picking it back up. Eventually it put her on a county highway she'd never been on before. Long flat. Not a single streetlight. Her gas light came on. She had maybe 30 miles of range left. She slowed down and started watching the sides of the road, praying for a gas station. About 10 minutes later, she saw one. A small station on the right side of the road. One of those single pump places with a little attached shop. The lights were on inside, which seemed strange for after midnight in the middle of nowhere. But the sign above the door read open. Kara pulled in. She said the parking lot was gravel, and her tires crunched loudly as she pulled up to the pump. There were no other cars. She got out and immediately felt uncomfortable. The kind of uncomfortable where the hair on the back of your neck prickles and your brain can't tell you exactly why. She started pumping gas, watching the little shop through the window. There was a man behind the counter. Big, heavy set. Just sitting there, staring straight at the door. Straight at her. Not moving. She told herself it was fine. Small town gas station. Old guy working a night shift. She kept her eyes on the pump. The bell above the door chimed. She looked up. A teenage boy had come out of the shop. Maybe 16 or 17. Blonde hair, vacant expression. He walked toward her slowly. You need any help? He asked. No thanks, Kara said. Just getting gas. He stopped a few feet away and just stood there, watching her. You're not from here, he said. No, just passing through, she said. People don't usually pass through Harlow County this late, he said. I'm heading to Nashville. Got turned around. The boy nodded slowly, but his expression never changed. That blank, empty stare. You shouldn't stop here, he said. Kara blinked. Excuse me? You should get in your car, he said, his voice dropping just slightly, and you should leave. Right now. Don't go into the shop. Don't talk to anyone else. Just go. He said it so calmly, so matter-of-factly. Not like a warning. More like someone reciting instructions. Kara said her heart was hammering. Is something wrong? The pump's going to stop at $20, he said. That's enough to get you to the next county. When it stops, don't wait. Then he turned around and walked back inside the shop. Kara stood frozen at the pump. She looked through the window. The big man behind the counter was still staring at her. He hadn't moved a muscle. Then she noticed something she hadn't seen before. In the far corner of the shop, half hidden by a shelf of motor oil and snacks, there was another man. Younger. Standing very, very still. And he was on the phone. Looking directly at her. The pump clicked. $20. Kara grabbed the nozzle, shoved it back into the pump, jumped in her car and drove. She drove for 20 straight minutes without slowing down. When she finally got cell service, she pulled over and looked up Harlow County, Tennessee gas station. The first result was a local news article from 8 months earlier. The headline read, 2 women missing after last being seen at rural Harlow County station. Kara read the article with shaking hands. Both women had stopped for gas at a single pump station on County Highway 7. Their cars were found abandoned within 5 miles of the station. Neither woman had ever been found. The article quoted a sheriff's statement saying the investigation was ongoing. It also noted that the station was owned by a man named Dale Pruitt and his 2 sons. Kara looked at the photos attached to the article. The station in the photo was the same one she'd stopped at. And the big man in the background of one of the shots, standing behind the counter, was the man who had been staring at her. She never found out who the teenage boy was. His face wasn't in any of the photos. She never figured out if he was trying to help her, or if he was part of whatever was happening there. All she knows is that the pump stopped at $20. She left, and she got to see her sister the next morning. The 2 missing women never got that chance. The last story is the one that scares me the most. Not because of what it contains, though what it contains is disturbing enough, but because of how ordinary it started. This one comes from a couple. Ryan and Dana. Married 3 years. No kids yet. They were driving back from a wedding in rural Georgia. Late August. Humid. Ryan was driving. Dana was in the passenger seat, half asleep. They were on a 2-lane back road because their GPS, and yes, I know, GPS comes up in every road trip horror story, and maybe that's a lesson in itself. Their GPS had taken them off the interstate to avoid reported traffic. Ryan said the road was perfectly fine for the first hour. Then, somewhere around 11:15 at night, he noticed headlights behind them. Now, headlights behind you on a road aren't alarming. You see them. You note them. You forget about them. But these headlights didn't change. After 10 minutes, they were still the exact same distance behind him. Not closer. Not farther. Ryan sped up slightly. Just to test it. The headlights sped up. He slowed back down. The headlights slowed down. Dana had woken up by now. "What's wrong?" she asked. "There's a car behind us," Ryan said. "It's been matching my speed for a while." Dana looked in the side mirror. "It's probably just someone going the same way," she said. Ryan nodded. He wanted that to be true. He kept driving. 15 minutes later, the headlights were still there. Still the same distance. Still matching him exactly. Ryan said he started running through rational explanations. Maybe it was someone who lived out this way, going to the same general area. Coincidences happen. Then he passed a turnoff. And the car behind him didn't take it. He passed another one. Same thing. There were now no other roads in either direction for the last 6 miles. The car behind him had had multiple opportunities to turn off. It hadn't. Dana was fully awake now, sitting up straight, watching the mirror. "Okay," she said quietly. "That's weird." "Yeah," Ryan said. "What do you want to do?" "I don't know," he said. "I don't want to stop." "Don't stop," she agreed immediately. Ryan tried something. He slowed down to about 20 miles an hour. Crawling. The car behind him slowed down to exactly 20 miles an hour. Dana took out her phone to call 911. No service. She tried to pull up a map to find the nearest town. The app loaded slowly, spinning, then gave her a result. The nearest town was 14 miles ahead. A place called Grover. Population 800. 14 miles, she said. Okay, Ryan said. We go straight to the police station or a gas station. Somewhere with people and lights. What if it follows us there? Then at least there will be witnesses, he said. He pressed down on the accelerator. The car lurched forward, climbing to 70 miles an hour on the dark road. The headlights jumped forward too. It was keeping pace with him. Ryan pushed it to 80. The headlights matched it. Dana was gripping the door handle. Ryan said he was trying to stay calm, but his throat had gone completely dry. Then something changed. The headlights got closer. Not much, but noticeably. Like the other car had decided the game was over. Ryan. I see it, he said. Go faster. He was already at 85. The road was dark. He could barely see the curves in time. He knew he was going too fast for this road. The headlights were close now. Very close. Then, a glow in the distance. Lights. Yellow and white. A cluster of them. The town of Grover. Ryan flew into it. Found the main street. Pulled into a gas station, the big bright fluorescent kind, and pulled up right to the door. He and Dana both turned around. The road behind them was empty. No headlights. No car. Nothing. They sat there for a full minute, panting, staring at the road they'd come from. The car was gone. A sleepy-looking attendant came out of the gas station and asked if they were okay. Ryan, still shaking, explained what had happened. The attendant's expression shifted. Which road did you come in from? He asked. Ryan told him the name of the county highway. The attendant was quiet for a moment. We've had 3 reports this summer, he said slowly, of cars being followed on that road at night. What happened to those people? Dana asked. The attendant shook his head. 2 of them made it here, like you. Shaken up, but fine. He stopped. And the third one? Ryan asked. The attendant looked at both of them for a moment. Then he said, they found that car in a ditch about 2 miles back. Both doors open. Engine still running. And the people inside? He shook his head again. Never found. Ryan and Dana spent the night at a motel in Grover. They drove home in daylight. On the interstate. All the way. They've never taken a back road at night again. And Ryan told me that the thing he can't stop thinking about, even now, years later, isn't the car that followed them. It's the simple question he can never answer. What did that third car do that he and Dana didn't? Did they stop? Did they slow down? Did they pull over to let it pass? He doesn't know. And he hopes he never finds out. 3 roads. 3 stories. 3 reminders that the highway doesn't belong to us after dark. Something about being in a car at night makes us feel safe. Enclosed. Protected. Moving. Like danger can't catch you when you're moving. But the road is long. And the road has no rules. And sometimes what's standing on the shoulder or filling your rearview mirror or sitting in your passenger seat isn't lost. Isn't in danger. It's waiting. Which story scared you the most? The ghost on Route 9, the gas station in Harlow County, or the car that wouldn't stop following? Drop your answer in the comments below. And if you're new here, subscribe. Turn on notifications. Because next time, we're going somewhere even darker. Good night, and drive safe.